start with Dr. Sigurd Nilsen, who is the Director of Education, Workforce, and Income Security at the GAC, which is the General Accountability Office located here in Washington, D.C. Sigurd's research has focused on public policy analysis and management related to workforce development, employment training, labor market issues, and performance management. Since joining AOC, Dr. Nilsen was with the Economic Service at USDA. Mr. Nilsen has received numerous awards throughout his career and received his PhD in economics as well as his undergraduate engineering degree from Cornell University.
Mr. Chairman and members of the subcommittee, thank you for inviting me here today to present the findings from our work on the Workforce Investment Act. My testimony today will discuss first the progress made in implementing key provisions in WIA, and second, challenges still facing the program to implement an integrated system. 7 years after implementing WIA, the system and its infrastructure continue to evolve. The one-stop system under WIA is designed to serve both employers and job seekers. We found that employers are aware of, use, and are satisfied with the one-stops in their area, especially medium and large employers. Yet regardless of size, employers hired a small percentage of new hires, about 9%, through the one-stops, and mainly lower-skilled workers. However, employers told us that they would hire more job seekers from the one-stops if the one-stops had more workers with the skills they were looking for. WIA provides the flexibility for local areas to develop ways to serve job seekers and employers in ways that best meet their local needs. While about 40% of funds were used to provide training to over 400,000 job seekers annually, the vast majority of those who use the one-stops get other types of assistance from the one-stops. However, those individuals are not reflected in the program performance data from the Department of Labor. States reported increased availability of services at one-stop centers, though in the case of the employment service, they were not always on site. And while labor officials expressed concern that these standalone offices cause confusion and promote inefficient use of resources, they say they lack the authority to prohibit these standalone locations. Yet optional partners are providing assistance through the one-stops as well. For example, 33 states reported that TANF services were generally available through the one-stops. Despite the progress states and local areas have made in developing the system, key aspects of the program could be improved. Funding issues continue to plague the system, in part because WIA's statutorily determined dislocated worker formula causes wide fluctuations in funding levels that do not reflect actual changes in layoff activity. Also, labor's focus on using expenditure data rather than expenditures plus obligations fails to consider the role of obligations in determining available funds, and labor's estimates overstates the actual level of available funds. Yet when we looked at this issue, we found that states spent 2/3 of their money in the first year they became available, and virtually all of the money within 2 years, even though they had 3 years to spend the money. Moreover, little is known about what the system is achieving. WIA performance data do not include information on all customers receiving services. In 2004, Labor first proposed an improved data system, but underestimated the time and resources needed to implement it. In response to concerns, Labor modified its design. Its current proposal, called WHISPER, was set to be implemented on July 1st, 2007, just a few days from now. But given that no guidance has been issued, it's unlikely that that will happen. However, our preliminary look at this data system is positive. It appears that this new data system would likely address many of the issues we've raised as we looked at the problems with the data in WIA. In addition, because local areas can decide who gets tracked, that's who is tracked for performance, they often choose to register only those who can help them meet their performance levels. Thus, assistance is not driven by a client's needs, but is driven to meet performance standards. Moreover, no information exists on what works and for whom. WIA, when it was passed in 1998, required an impact evaluation by 2005, but labor has not yet begun such a study. In conclusion, in the 7 years since WIA was implemented, much progress has been made in developing and implementing an integrated system of universal access. States and local areas have used the flexibility under WIA to tailor services to meet local needs. As the Congress moves toward reauthorizing WIA, consideration should be given to maintaining state and local flexibility, whereby innovation and system ownership can be fostered. However, some aspects of WIA could be improved through legislative action. First, improving the data on people who use the system, requiring all job seekers who receive WIA-funded services to be included in the performance measurement system would improve the understanding of who gets served and what happens to them. Second, improving funding stability. If Congress chooses not to make formula changes, it can still reduce volatility in the dislocated worker allocation by requiring the use of hold harmless or stop gain provisions as there are in the adult allocation. Furthermore, we have made a number of recommendations to labor to improve aspects of the current system. While labor has implemented many of them, several key concerns remain unaddressed. In the absence of action by labor, Congress may wish to consider taking action in these areas as well, requiring the use of obligations, for example, as well as expenditures to determine available funds, requiring a systematic approach to adjusting performance goals for states and localities based on the populations they serve and the local economic conditions in their areas, and perhaps most importantly, mandating a rigorous program evaluation. Mr. Chairman, my final comment is that steps need to be taken to encourage further integration of programs through the one-stop system to create a true workforce development system out of the all too often siloed programs that still pervade many local areas. In 1998, we have provided the framework. More still needs to be done to achieve the vision of WIA. This completes my prepared statement, and I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.